morning. It was everybody this cold Wednesday morning. It was very icy when I got up this morning here in Drogheda. But I like these kind of fresh mornings when you can be inside and warm. So I'm lucky. I'm one of the lucky ones. A lot of people out there aren't as lucky and fortunate to have the heat. So think of those people in times like this. Today I got the old Pearl Jam mug in honour of picking up tickets for Ryan Adams in Dublin this morning, which makes me very happy. So can't wait to see Ryan again. He's a hell of a performer. He can be one minute he can be crazy, and the next minute he can be really cool and soft. So it's very good. We've got a few questions today. I want to apologise to those of you who listened to the podcast. I had a problem with my audio last week, so the audio didn't record, and then trying to drag the audio off the video wasn't great, so the quality wasn't up to scratch. But if you do want to listen back, you can definitely grab it on the Lemur app. Just download the Lemur app and follow me at Irish Al, and you will get all the podcasts on there as well. So anyway, let's crack on with today after I get a little sip. Okay, so my 13-year-old daughter is fairly conscientious and gets her homework done, and we help her when she needs it. One of our good friends in school has been asking a lot for her to send her my daughter's homework, as she doesn't understand what to do. It wasn't a big deal to start with, and it's never been an issue with my daughter, but now it's clear that our friend is starting to take advantage. It's happening almost on a nightly basis. My daughter doesn't see it as a big issue, but it is something that we don't want to continue, as our daughter may get in trouble in school. Any advice on how to handle it? And I suppose probably for a lot of kids that kind of 13, maybe your child is in the first year of school, so she's making new friends and stuff like that. So it's really important for her to have that connection with people. And if she's conscientious, like you say, she probably has no problem sitting and sending the homework that she's done, because she's done it. It's not an issue, and she wants to help her friend out. Sometimes this can be a nice sign, because, as you say, your child is a nice person and wants to kind of help her friends out. But at the same time, when it starts to happen on a regular basis, why would your child's friend do her homework when she knows she can just get it off your daughter? So it's a bit of a balancing act for you, because you don't want to impact on their friendship, but at the same time you got to keep her safe, and well, not so much safe, but make sure she's not being taken advantage of. And it sounds like that's what you want to do. So maybe a good thing would be to sit down and have a conversation with your daughter about this and say, look, we know you're very good friends with this girl, and she may not be taking advantage, but maybe she needs some help, and by you giving her your homework every night, it's actually not helping her, so that she's falling further behind, because all she's doing is just copying your homework. So maybe the best thing for her would be to not have your homework, so that she has to kind of push herself a little bit to get the help that maybe she needs. So maybe you can sit down with your friend and say, and this is one thing I'll say for any parent that you can do, is give your kids the out for any situation, so that they can blame you with anyone. So my parents won't let me share my homework. My parents won't let me go out to the disco. My parents won't let me do X, Y, and Z. Let your kids know that you will always be the out for them. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to you whether or not their friends think you're the cruelest, most horrible parents in the world. So what? It doesn't matter. So maybe sit down with your daughter and suggest to her that she can say that you guys have stopped her from sharing her homework with her friends, and you're not allowed. But if your friend wants to bounce some questions off or check things out with you, get her to give you a shout, get her to give you a ring, so you can have a conversation about it, and she can talk it through with her friend. That way she's not saying, I don't want to give you my homework because I'll get in trouble. But it's one of those things where your child has that extra support around her to kind of go, the olds, they're just being horrendous and they won't, and they check my phone or they check my iPad or they check whatever it might be. it's all right to do that. And giving your child that out can be the support sometimes they need, especially as they're growing older. And there might be situations where they don't feel comfortable and end up in a situation where they can kind of go, my parents won't let me do this. So you're just giving your child an extra out when it comes to things that maybe they need a bit of support in. And you're being a parent, which is all of our job. Our job is to be our child's parent, not to be their friend, and definitely not to be friends with their friends, because, we're adults. It's all right to be friendly with our kids and our kids' friends, but we're meant to be role models. We're meant to be adults. It's up to us to make sure that our children feel safe and supported. So maybe sit down, have a conversation with her, give her the out, and don't let her send her homework done to her friend anymore. So, maybe if this carries on, even after you have the conversation, maybe it's important that you do sit down with your daughter and say, okay, if you keep sending your homework, we're going to have to put a consequence in place. We don't want to do it. But we'll try to give you some examples of what you can do to not feel under pressure to send it. And if you do carry on to send it, there will be a consequence. But hopefully you won't get to that point. Hopefully it won't. Okay. Next up. Hello Jennifer, good morning. It's good to see you. I hope you're keeping well. My son has just turned 8 and is getting into fights in school. There seems to be no apparent reason for it, and when I ask him, he says, I don't know. I'm sure many parents can empathise with that. The school are concerned, as am I, but he's not telling anyone any reason why. He just told his teacher that one child was looking at him funny and he got angry. What can I do to stop this behaviour? As I don't want him to get a reputation as a troublemaker. He is really pleasant at home and no real trouble. So it's probably the opposite of a lot of parents, where it's, house angel, street devil. For most parents, it's probably the other way around, where it's street angel, house devil, and they'll kind of go, come and live with my child, and then you'll know what they're really like. But I think we'd all much rather our child is okay out there and they get to release everything when they get home. Here, your child, there's obviously something going on for him. If he's getting into physical fights, so he's struggling to manage his anger, he's struggling to manage his behaviour when it comes to recognising social cues. Now, he's only a child, so it's really, really important that we give him the space to grow, but there could be something deeper there. So maybe he's feeling under stress. Maybe he's feeling like he doesn't understand what's happening in the class. Maybe he has fallen out with his best friend. Maybe home life is a bit crazy and he doesn't know how to manage that within himself. So what I'd say is have a look at all those things. This is not about criticising any parents, but it is important that we do look at our home lives and see, is there something going on here that might not be conducive to my child being calm in school? So if you are in a household where literally there is no stopping, everyone's getting up in the morning, military operation, out the door, home, homework, straight out to activities, home, bed, up again, like that is exhausting. And we have to remember our children are only children. And I guarantee if you're a parent who does that, I have no doubt at all that you are experiencing the same thing, that you probably get to the weekend and you're just absolutely exhausted. Now, our children aren't as able to manage that situation as us, because they may not have any control over it. So look at the situation at home. Is he under pressure? May he be struggling to deal with things at home? Now, he may not, and that's okay. Maybe he just doesn't know a proper outlet for managing his anger. So maybe it's a case of sitting down with the teachers and saying, look, we're going to be honest, he isn't like this at home. So this behaviour that you're telling us about is really alien to us. We're not saying we don't believe you, but we're not sure how to manage it because we don't have to manage it at home. So maybe it's okay to get their advice and say, well, what can we all do? And, we say it every time. It's the we, especially when you're dealing with a school or an outside body. Look at the we. What can we do to make things different so that's better for everybody, but especially for your son? So sit down with the school. maybe it could be good for you to get one of the notebooks that we've discussed in the past as well. So maybe if you're a first time listener, get a notebook for your child where they write about their day, and you reply to them and you write about your day. And there's a twofold benefit to this. One, you build a really good, strong alternative connection with your children, because for most kids what they'll do is they'll come in the evening, or you as a parent will come in from work and go, how's your day? Grand. And they'll say to you, how was your day? Fine. And that's the sum total of the conversation about it. When in actual fact a lot more has gone on. So by getting to write to each other, you both learn about what's going on, plus there isn't pressure to try and remember in the moment. But the other benefit of it, and the more important benefit of it, is that your child gets to process what has happened in the day on their own for themselves. So if they got in trouble in school and you come home and say, how was your day? Oh, it was horrible. It was a terrible day. I got in trouble in school. In actual fact, it may have only been a 10-minute period. And when they write it out, they'll talk about, I got in trouble in school, and then I went out and played with my friends and I felt better. And then I came home and I did X, Y, and Z. So actually they start to realise that that one incident in the day does not make it the whole day a horrible day. And then see how that goes. Try and converse with them about the behaviour, maybe through the notebook, maybe through pictures, and then see if that improves. Try consequences, because I'm sure the school will be saying, well, look, we can't have him hitting other children, and they may be saying he could be getting suspension soon. But try and work with them, and then you may need to put consequences in place at home. Ideally not, because all he's doing is struggling to manage his anger. But sometimes we need the consequences to start to understand and realise that the consequence is worse than the behaviour that I'm going to do. And then if you need to, get professional help. If he's really struggling, go and speak to somebody. Drop me an email, and if you're living in the local area, we can definitely look at setting up an appointment for your child. Generally what I find is with kids that age, we can move them fairly quickly through the process of managing their behaviour much better. So I hope that's of some help. But do look at the supports around you, speak to the school, and try and use the notebook to see if your child can start to process things differently. Okay, because sometimes they don't want to talk about it. Sometimes they can't find the words in the moment when they're with you to explain what's happening, and they're also getting the emotion from you of your disappointment or your frustration or your upset or your concern, and they can't necessarily process that either. So it's okay for them to go away, think about it, write it down, and then give it to you, so it's not a face-to-face interaction. Okay, last one for today. Why is it so difficult to do the same simple morning routine for school? I have 3 kids who go to school, and every morning there's at least one child who is missing a uniform, missing a shoe, missing a tie, hair all over the place as we're going out the door. The routine doesn't change. Why is it so difficult? The old forgetful kids. They're so busy paying attention to every crack in the ceiling, everything else that's going on, all those things. So it can be really frustrating, because you may be rushing out the door to get to work. What I'd suggest is look at the morning routine, because if your routine is not changing and it's not working, maybe it's the routine that needs to change. So we all have an expectation, and maybe it's different every day, but we all have an expectation that our children will be able to just get dressed, brush their teeth, have breakfast, and leave at the same time every single morning. But if you're finding every single morning that something is amiss, something is awry, maybe you don't have enough time in the morning. Maybe your kids are rushed, maybe they're just forgetful, but maybe you're the adult, and it's a pain in the ass that you're the adult and that you have to think about this stuff. But if it's not working, it needs to change. So it's one of the things I will always say to parents is that we as parents have expectations of how our children should behave. So they should do this, they should do this, they should do this, they should do this, they should do this. But if they're not doing it, there's no point in us getting frustrated with the shoulds. what we have to do is go, well, this is where they're at. So if they're not doing something, we need to work with them not being able to do it or not doing it and try and change it at that level instead of going, yeah, but they should be, they should be, they should be. So what I'd say to you is look at the routine. Do you need more time in the morning? Does it mean getting up 10 minutes earlier, 15 minutes earlier, half an hour earlier? Now, no one wants to get up earlier necessarily, but maybe you have to get up that bit earlier and then give your kids a little checklist, right? It's almost, the toilets in cafes and pubs where they have the tick that people have to sign when they've cleaned the toilets. It's essentially like that, where your kids come down the stairs every morning and they tick what they've done. They can design their own little weekly planner, whatever it might be, so that it's fun, that it's not necessarily a chore for them, but that they get to do it. Maybe you have it in the bedroom where the first thing they see is, get dressed, brush teeth, whatever it might be, whatever your routine needs to be, and then look at trying to get them to take ownership of that so they're taking it off now. Kids will slip with it. They will definitely slip. And the reason they will slip is because you'll slip with it, because there'll be a morning where you'll be running late. There'll be a morning where, you don't even think about it, or where the routine is actually going quite well. So everyone just slowly slips away from using it because it's working until the day it doesn't work. So keep on top of the routine. Ideally, you want to get to a point where, they're not 17, 16 and 15 years of age having to come in and tick off the list of getting stuff done. But it's all right to do that and work at where they're at. But look at, do I need to get up earlier? Do I need to get a particular child up earlier? So if there's one child who's slower than everybody else, who slows everything down, do they need to be got up earlier and maybe helped to get ready? Because if what you might find is that there is one child who is generally the one who does make the morning that bit more difficult because they're sleepy, they're not able to get their clothes on or get the right whatever. If they're the one, maybe you can get them up that bit earlier and help them get ready, even if they're old enough to get ready, but help them. You have a nice interaction with your child and they're ready to go before anyone else is up and awake. Why not give that a go? And as I say, you end up with a lovely interaction with your kids. And how nice is that? So give that a go and come back to me. So, what do I have to tell you? Check out our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, podcast channel, the Lemur app. It's great. And like I got to reveal last week, I've set up a Patreon page, the Al O'Donoghue Podcasts, where you, the listeners, get to help me to make these podcasts and the other ones that I've planned to come up. So I can't reveal anything yet, but I do have some really exciting podcasts planned for this year. So by you helping me out, it helps to make the podcasts more accessible and maybe a bit more interesting. Not that they're not interesting already, but if you go to Patreon, sign up, you can give me the price of a cup of coffee once a month. I really appreciate it because I've been doing these podcasts for free for the last 6 years. And like anything in life, the costs go up. So, I don't like putting out the call for help because I do like to do it for free. I love it, but costs have gone up and I have big plans for future things. So that will be happening this year. So head on over to the Patreon page. I'll put a link in the comment section here. And until next week, have a good week, guys. Take care.